I spent years trying to manage my time, planners, schedules, systems, none of it worked. Today, I'm going to tell you why and what actually did work for me. Do you want to build unshakable confidence and authentic authority without operating at a constant level 10 intensity that exhausts your impact? Hey, I'm Dr. Leslie Davis, vocal leadership and communication coach. I discovered a strategy to help you develop a voice that builds trust and radiates authority without being a jerk. If you're a Christian business owner ready to learn how to build trust and authority with your voice, grab your hot toddy and a journal and let's make the shift. Before we dive in, if you'd like to follow along with what I'm teaching you today, the Capacity Audit Workbook is in the Authentic Voice Leadership community, so you can grab it now or check it out after the episode so you can revisit the steps. So that's at authenticvoiceleadership.com. So I'm going to begin with a story. When I was 19 years old, I had my first daughter, and after she was born, my body completely shifted. And I started having strange symptoms. I lost a lot of weight, too much. I started having anxiety. I started having a lot of symptoms that made me feel a little crazy, right? Well, after several months, I guess, of feeling this way and not knowing what was going on with me, I went to try to figure out why I had so much anxiety, why I was having all these symptoms. And after digging a little deeper, we found that I had an autoimmune disorder that came up with pregnancy called Graves' disease. And what Graves' disease is, it's a thyroid disorder. It's hyperactive thyroid. So it's the opposite of what you normally hear about with the sluggish metabolism. Instead, it was the opposite. It was like haywire metabolism. I was burning off more calories than I could consume. I was happy about how much weight I was losing and all of that kind of stuff, but it was really wreaking havoc in my life and wreaking havoc in my system. So we started out with this medicine that was supposed to slow it down. And at 19 years old, 20 years old, I was very impatient with it. I was like, why isn't this working? Why am I not feeling better? We would check my numbers. My numbers were still really low and really struggling getting my body systems to come back online the way they should. And my decision-making skills were not super great because when you're in that heightened stress state, it's hard to make solid decisions. And plus, I was young. Now, caveat to this is I was very young and I had no idea about homeopathic remedies. I didn't know about natural methods of healing the thyroid, and these things are real. I did not know about it at that time. And so I want to say that because this is what I did in this situation is not what I would recommend anyone do at this time. There are so many ways that you can find healing in your thyroid that is not what I did. And in extreme cases, maybe what I did might be what I have to do. And maybe you made this decision as well. I had to have radiation done on my thyroid. So what it wound up doing was killing the organ of my thyroid because it was so overactive. It didn't slow it down. It stopped it completely. And so Graves' disease over here, the pendulum now swung over here and still carrying the autoimmune disorder in my bloodstream, but it was now acting like a Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's is the opposite of Graves' disease, where it's a low, sluggish thyroid. And if you have Hashimoto's, it does not mean your thyroid doesn't work. You can find healing for that too. But what happened here is that all of a sudden I had this opposite problem. So where the problem was over in one area, it swung over to the other area and it was extremely low to non-functional. So throughout my life, since I was 20 years old, I've had to navigate this autoimmune disorder, and it has looked different in different seasons of my life. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because as I tried to manage this throughout my life, I always felt like I was failing. I always felt like I didn't have enough in me to do the thing that needed to be done, or I was in hyperdrive. It was one or the other. I was in hyperdrive or not at all. It was black or white, all or nothing. So I got help to learn how to manage my time, to do a better job at figuring out what it was that I needed to do each day and how to structure my schedule, and I used markers and colors to help me. Now, these methods of time management are so good. They are so good. And these systems are really good systems. But what it doesn't teach you is that time management and energy management are two totally different concepts. And I was never taught energy management. And that's what I want to bring to you today, because I tried to manage all of this with planners and schedules. And I still do. I still use my planner. I still use schedules. I use color coded systems. And it works in theory and it works in certain seasons of my life. But overall, I had to actually learn what my capacity was. And believe me, I dove deep into productivity hacks and all the things to help me learn how to do this better. But it wasn't until about a year ago that I was exposed to a concept called an energy management system or an energy audit and what that even is. And after having years of navigating an autoimmune disease in my own body and not knowing how to explain how it felt to people. And I'm not being lazy, or yes, I'm in overdrive right now, but it's like, if I don't get it done now, I might not feel like it next to the next season. So I better do it now. And it gave me like a little bit of a scarcity mindset. Like, I'm not going to have enough energy to get this done if I don't do it now. But then I would burn and crash. And it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So I was solving the wrong problem. Now, what really helped me is to stop focusing on just the time and start recognizing what my capacity actually is. And so we are all gifted 24 hours a day. And you've heard this. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with it that matters. But what they don't say is how you manage your capacity within that 24 hours is what actually matters. Because if you manage it well, you'll be able to keep the dial moving forward, even on the low energy days. So I have 5 steps that I want to take you through for an energy capacity audit, because this was life-changing for me, and I know it will be life-changing for you. So what does it actually look like to do an energy/capacity audit? So I do have a workbook for you in the community. You can go to the community and go to the resources tab and download that and use it all you want to. But today I'm just going to lay it out for you, because you know how podcasts are. We come and we listen and we go. So step 1, I want you to take a look at your activities. And I really want you to audit your activities for a week if you can handle it. So do it for at least a day and up to a week if you can have the capacity for that, because what that will do is give you a really good baseline for where you fluctuate from day to day. And just start now, because in the next season, you may need to do a new audit based on where your energy levels are. And I was actually having a conversation on the way home from the gym this morning with my brother-in-law. We were like, we always talk about making sure that we're consistent. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. And it's true. But what they don't talk about is life be lifing, right? So we're out there doing life and life happens. How do we stay consistent when life be lifing, right? This will help you when life happens to stay consistent in the things that matter to you. And remember, this is not a practice to judge yourself or feel guilty about anything you are or aren't doing. It's a baseline to understand where you're at. And it's a really great place to start for giving yourself some grace for when you need it, right? All right. Okay. Let's start with this. Notice before you start the activity, what is the internal thoughts going through your head? How are you feeling before you start? While you're doing the activity, how is it affecting your energy levels? Is it hard? Is it life-giving? Is it dragging through the mud? What does it feel like to be doing that activity? And then the last thing is, when you're done, how does it feel? Do you feel better than when you started? Do you feel about the same? Or do you feel worse? Do you feel depleted? And this is not about an activity being good or bad. This is how an activity uses your energy levels. So, for example, when I first did my energy audit, I was always upset that nobody helped me with the dishes. I was like, oh man, I always have to do the dishes myself. So I would go in there and with a bad attitude, get the dishes done and walk out of there mad that nobody's helping me. I did an energy audit and I paid attention to how I was feeling before I started the dishes. And this is a task that has to be done, right? This is just something that we have to do or it's going to be gross. So walking in my kitchen, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit overwhelming. I'm going to tackle this. So I started doing the dishes and I realized that my energy level was going up. I started zoning in and it made me feel good to see the progress I was making. It was instant gratification. I always think I was getting a dopamine hit just from clean dish to clean dish, right? So it was dirty, now it's clean and I'm putting it away. And then I also realized that it gave me a separation. I have 3 little kids and I love all of their attention. And sometimes I need to step away and reset. Well, I realized that stepping into the kitchen to do something productive, like the dishes, gave me the reset I needed to come back out and be more grounded. And this surprised me. Guys, I was like, well, I've wasted so much time being mad about nobody helping me with the dishes. But in this energy audit, I found that my energy level rising ever so slightly with every dish. And then at the end of it, I had accomplished this task. And within that, I also had separation to get grounded. I also could stick on a podcast and listen and learn or be entertained in some way, or I could put on worship music and praise the Lord while I'm washing dishes. I can have this internal conversation. I can process whatever I need to process in that zoned in zone. So I left doing the dishes in my energy audit going, I am so surprised. This is an activity that gives me energy. I actually enjoy doing the dishes. It was a total reframe for me. And so instead of getting upset that nobody else was doing the dishes, I embraced it. I embraced doing the dishes because it gave me that separation. It gave me all this energy to do other things that I needed to do. And on the flip side, some things that do not give me energy, I can delegate it. Or I remember as a teenager, side note, as a teenager, my mom had charts and things for us to follow for our chores. And I guess I'm focused on chores here because these are like the necessary task of the day. Of course, there's so many other things we do with our business, things we do with our family, the activities that we get to do, going out to eat, having fun. All of those things are part of our life and part of our audit. But I guess I'm focused here on the task because these are often the things that get a bad reputation and we dread doing, but we can totally reframe it in our life to start to look forward to some of the tasks that give us energy. And if we don't enjoy the task, we learn how to either limit how much we're doing that task or delegate it to somebody else or have a system that can really make that work for you a little bit better so that it's not as depleting as before. So, like I said, when I was a teenager, my mom had these charts, these chore charts. And so there was 4 of us in my mom's house. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. And there were certain things that we had to do every day. And the way my mom originally set it up is that you followed one chart one week and then you swapped and did the other chart the next week. That way you were never having to do the same thing over and over again. Well, what happened is that I couldn't stand doing laundry and I didn't want to do the laundry for the whole family. And it was painful for me to sit there and fold clothes when I could be doing something else. It didn't feel productive to me. And I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want to do it. And then my sister goes, I cannot stand doing the kitchen. I would rather just do laundry. And I said, well, let's not switch. I'll do the kitchen, you do the laundry. And if we feel like we need a break, then we'll switch. And we asked my mom. She was like, well, yeah, as long as it's getting done. So what happened is throughout my teenage years, my sister did the laundry and I did the kitchen. And it was just our job. And it shouldn't have surprised me that the dishes is what I would have given me energy as an adult. And laundry still doesn't bring me life. I still do not enjoy doing laundry. But I have come up with systems to make laundry time better for me. And the only reason I bring this up is these are the chores that are easy to go back to, like I said. So then after you do this across your day or across your week, you're going to find things that are going to be very life-giving for you. Like if you think of a scale of 1 to 10, and if you listened to the last episode we had with Karen Baines, you would hear we talk about this energy management a little bit. But so here I'm giving you a practical examples to go a little deeper in this concept so you can use what we talked about. So you can start to learn on a scale of 1 to 10, what does this activity bring to you? 5 would be like that baseline neutral, very neutral, doesn't give you any energy, doesn't take energy from you. And it's just what it is, something you got to do. A 8 or a 9 would be something that you feel more replenished after doing the activity. And you can give yourself that scale. You'll know these are things I need to be doing more often. And it can be anything. And then the 1 and 2s, those are the things that are like depleting. These are the things that do not, even if it's a required task, it's not something that's good for you. You don't like to do it. You need to recuperate after doing that activity. Budgeting is that for me. Budgeting is necessary, but I do not enjoy it. And after I budget and spend time in that highly heightened analytical mindset, I have to recover when I'm done. So I have to set aside time to do the activity, and then I have to set aside more time to recover from that activity. And so that's how you can see, can you go from something to the next thing, or do you need to go from something to recovery? This can help you when you're learning to manage the different activities you have and how to schedule it in. Because if you know this activity is so depleting, you need to limit your time in that. Well, guess what? There are programs and there are people that can do these things for you. And you can either delegate it to someone in your home. You can do it yourself, but do it in a more systemized, limited way. You can schedule it through your week in a way that is less touch. So laundry, for example, for me, it's actually easier to do 1 load of laundry a day and sit there in my kids' bedroom, fold the clothes and put them away from my kids' bedroom, since there's 3 of them and they share a closet. So 75% of the clothes go there. 10% go in the bathroom for towels and sheets, and then the rest will go in my closet. So if I fold it right there and I hang it up and I do it right then, I'm done in 15 minutes versus having the laundry day where I do all of the loads all day long. When I was growing up, it was like movie marathon day, laundry day. It just does not work for me. So in bringing that forward, it's finding systems that can manage those depleting activities. That's another thing, is like I delegated that to my sister when I was a teenager. Now I have to do it, so I have a system for it. Budgeting, I could hire somebody to do it. If I do it often enough and it's deep enough and if it gets any more analytical than it is right now, I'm hiring a bookkeeper. Just saying. You need to look at those things and how they fill you or deplete you, or if it's a baseline. Now, as we talked about in the previous episode, there are activities that are called stretch activities, which are probably not things that you're going to do every single day. You want to do some stretch activities every week just to introduce resistance, because resistance is actually growth, is evidence of growth. Resistance, as much as we want to say it's the enemy, it's not. It's what we do with resistance, whether it becomes an enemy or a cheerleader for you. We need to introduce resistance into our life and into our mind every single week. You wouldn't go to the gym and not up your weights and increase resistance for growth. But we got to do that in our mind. We got to do that in our life too. So here is where you're going to be noticing those things. Okay, the next step is to take what you're doing and notice whether it's stretching you in a good way or if it's draining you. Like I said, resistance is good. There's a difference between something being hard and something being depleting. And those extreme activities that are crazy fun, going to the theme park, for example, or going mountain biking and those kind of things. You want to do those things, but they're not going to be on a scale of 1 to 10. Those are going to be our stretch activities that we talked about. And we're going to want to know what these things are. So we're going to look at alignment now. Now that we know what it gives and takes from us, we need to know what our core values are. We need to know what our decision-making process is, and we need to evaluate these activities by the energy that it takes or gives to us, and by priority, and whether it aligns with your values. So if having a clean house, sticking with the example, right? If having a clean house is a priority and stewardship is a core value, which stewardship is a core value for me, then I want to make sure that I'm aligning my decisions in a way that honors both my core values and my energy levels. So when it comes to cleaning the house that day, if I have a low capacity one day and I have to choose, I'm going to choose the activity that is going to align with where my energy is that day. And hopefully that can give me energy. And if it can't, I'm going to build in some time to have recovery. So this brings me to how to measure your capacity in whatever season that you're in right now. And you can't evaluate it based on where you've been, and you can't evaluate it on where you're going. You only have today to really look at. So you have to know where your capacity for the day is. And I want to bring to you a way of looking at this. This woman named Christine, if I say her name right, I hope so, Miserandino. And in 2003, she introduced something called the spoon theory. And I've been looking at the spoon theory lately, and it's so fascinating because it's so true. It's just a really easy visual to measure your daily capacity. So she was trying to explain what it was like living with lupus to a friend. And so I've had to try to explain what it's like living with a thyroid, and also Epstein-Barr virus is something that I have dealt with many times in my adult life that has flattened me a few times, and I've had to reevaluate what I can handle in a season. And to try to explain that to someone and where you're at can be very difficult because you have to sometimes explain where you're at a little bit so you can frame expectations. So they were sitting in a diner, and she grabbed some spoons from a nearby table, and she used those spoons as a visual. And this is where the theory came from. So each spoon represented a unit of available energy. These are simple activities that many people can take for granted: getting dressed, driving, making dinner, attending a social event. Each one of these things costs a spoon. And some of these things can cost more than one spoon. So when you're looking at your energy management overall, how many spoons does it cost to do this activity? This idea has been widely adopted throughout chronic illness circles and disability communities because it gives people language for something that is really difficult to explain. So if I have 10 spoons available to me today, and laundry takes 3 of my spoons, and dishes takes 1 of my spoons. If I have to choose between laundry and dishes, should I choose laundry or dishes based on how many spoons I have for that day, which would be 10? 10's a good amount of spoons. I'm going to choose dishes so that I can lay that 1 spoon and at the end of the day, how many spoons do I have left? So what is realistic for you? And different activities have different amounts of spoons that it costs. So we use money for exchange with products and goods, and like an orange costs $1.50 a pound, where cucumbers cost 99 cents a pound, or whatever it is. Those are not accurate numbers, but whatever it is, in your energy audit, you are looking at how many spoons, quote unquote, does it cost to do that activity. So when you're evaluating on that scale of 1 to 10, how much energy it gives, is it neutral or does it drain you? And how many spoons does it cost you to do that? So if you are dealing with something like chronic illness or a season of life, maybe you're going through a divorce that's just taking from you. Maybe you have small kids at home like I do, and you just don't have capacity for all the social events and all the things that you have to do because your kids get that attention right now. And you have to know what life is doing in that season during your audit. So step 4 is to spend these spoons intentionally. What gets your best energy? What can be simplified? What can be released? You get to decide, but you need to decide with intention and purpose. This decision will be made for you if you don't make it. So when you take this energy audit and you're looking at things, make yourself a cheat sheet. Make yourself a little list, maybe a grid. And in the workbook, I have a grid for you so you can look at the grid to see, check here, 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 where it's feeling for you. And it's not about balance. It's about finding the flow. What is working for you right now? What do you need today? What are my top 3 priorities today? And if I can do more, great. And if I can't, okay. What is the minimum today? What is the minimum thing that I need to do to move the dial forward in my life? And then you lead from the overflow of this new place of living based on your energy output and input instead of just time management. And this is how you can stay consistent for the long haul. This is how, when life be lifing, we can still be consistent because we've defined this for ourselves. When my brother-in-law and I decided to start going to the gym and holding each other accountable, I said, how many days a week do you want to go to the gym? He was like, every day. I was like, great, let's go every day. What's the minimum if we can't? Is it 2 days? Is it 3 days? What is it? So we were like, okay, hands down, we will not go to the gym less than 2 days a week, but our goal is 5. But we've met our minimum for consistency if we've gone 2, right? More often than not is consistency. We are doing this more often than I'm not, and I'm being consistent. I'm continuing to do it, even if it's just moving the dial 1%. We know about 1% from Atomic Habits. If you have not read that book, go read it. We'll do an episode on Atomic Habits later, but move the dial, little bits. We are always either moving forward or backward. We're not staying in one spot. If you're staying in one spot, you're sliding backwards. But if you're moving forward ever so slowly, even if it has to be 1%, you're still making progress. You're still in consistency and you're still moving the dial forward. So let's do that. And this is a way that we can do that in a healthy way rather than striving and pushing and all the things like that. So now, whether you have been following along with the workbook or just reflecting, I want you to start noticing where your energy levels are. How is it affecting you? How are you doing? Not where your calendar is pulling you. Yes, you need to know what's on your calendar. That is also good stewardship of your time. But you need to know where your energy is going so that you know how to manage it. And this is where the audit becomes very important because you start there. You don't want to be spinning so many plates that they all fall. And this is a great way to have self-awareness enough to keep only the plates spinning that are required to be spinning for the day and to put them away when you're done instead of continuing to pile them and pile them and pile them. And if you're like me, go ahead and get somebody who holds you accountable to this, okay? Because I know for me, I will be feeling great and I'll be putting another plate, spin, put another plate, spin. I'm spinning 10 plates and I think I can handle another one. And if I don't have accountability, I'll stick another plate on there and crash. Everything comes crashing down. And that's not good for anybody. And I don't want that to happen for you. It's happened to me too many times. All right, guys. I will see you next Tuesday. Stay radiant.
Hey, Radiant Leader, to dive deeper into our resources and connect with a powerhouse circle of like-minded leaders, come join our free community right now over at authenticvoiceleadership.com. I will meet you right back here next Tuesday. Your voice matters. Lead wild, lead free. Stay radiant, my friend.